Hello, my friends. Glad to be back. Today is 25th of December. Now it's almost 8 o'clock in the afternoon. And of course, first of all, I like to congratulate you and wish you Happy Christmas and Happy New Year. Today is a great uh, Christian celebration, great holiday. So, of course, uh, I like to congratulate everyone that are celebrating Christmas today. Me personally and my family, we are part of Georgian Orthodox Christianity, and we will celebrate it in 7th of January. But still, as a part of Christian family, of course, with all hearts, I like to congratulate everyone that are celebrating this great day today. That's been said, let me now introduce you to news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets today for this moment. I did already check a few Russian media outlets, and to be honest, I did not see any news about some big developments, but still there is some news, and you may find it interesting. Before I start talk about news, I like to apologize. I have to apologize because I do understand that my English is not perfect. It does takes time for me to uh, how should I say it? It does take time for me to construct sentences in English, and probably it will take many months before I start thinking in English in a way that my English, when I talk, will improve greatly. And of course, it will take time to somehow brainstorm my vocabulary in English. But I am trying. And because I talk quite slowly, all I can right now is to recommend to speed up videos, and that way my videos may become a little bit more energetic. So yes, it is what it is, man. I can only apologize for my not good enough English for this moment, but I will definitely try to improve. So yes, uh, that's been said. Let's talk about news now. And as I said, I did check a few media outlets. I did not see any news about some big, huge developments, but I did see news that are interesting in my opinion, and this is one of them. Um, this is one of them. This is TASS news agency, and we have here statements from Russian finance minister Anton Silvanov, who did give an interview to news channel Ashark. That's, as I understand, this news channel is based in Saudi Arabia. And in his interview, Russian finance minister did say that Russia may reduce its output of oil in world market, uh, but Russia will principally would not sell oil to countries that are asking price uh, on a level of price cap that Western state did impose on Russia. So it seems like Moscow is staying behind its word that it would don't deliver oil to countries that will impose a price tag on Russian oil. Silvanov did not mention quantity of oil that Russia may reduce output of, but still it seems like world market will endure in some time uh, lessening of supply, because as you remember in previous video I was talking about statement from vice or deputy prime minister of Russia Novak, who said that Russia may reduce its oil exports up to from 500 to 700,000 uh, barrels a day. So yes, Silvanov did not mention any numbers, but his statement does give us a picture about mood in Russian political leadership. It seems like they will definitely don't deliver Russian oil to countries that impose a price cap or will demand price under this price cap. So yes, he also said that even though Russia will reduce production of oil, if I may say this way, Russian companies that are working in energo sector, they are actively developing new partnerships with countries in the Asia, in Africa, in different places in this world, so that Russia will be able to uh, find new markets and on these new markets introduce Russian oil that will not be sold to the West. So Russia is now Russia is working on diversification of oil export. So yes, I mean it seems like uh, Europe will be left without Russian oil, and I think, of course, they will be able to buy oil on a market from different suppliers, but they will probably pay much more than they usually did with contracts with the Russian companies. So that's for you one more reason to be skeptical about near future of European economy, because they are losing Russian gas supply, they are losing Russian oil supply. Next will be probably products of oil, and yes, eventually energy crisis in Europe will reach some new heights. It seems at least. So time will tell. Let's wait and see. But me personally, Uh, I will say that I do like that Moscow is taking some principal steps, uh, and they are not they are not planning to sell oil to countries that did impose price cap. So it's good in my opinion. That's one news that I like to share with you. I hope you find it interesting. Next news is, let's say, this one. This is Kommersant magazine, newspaper of Russian, one of the big names in Russian media. And here we have information that Turkey is asking Russia to open skies in North Syria so that Turkish Air Force will be able to do some airstrikes against Kurdish armed forces that are controlling uh, northern parts of Syria. Not all north of Syria, but most of it. Here we have a statement from head of Turkish national defense. I assume this is defense minister, kind of. In Russia, it's Minister национальной обороны, so it must be defense minister. Hulusi Akar, his name. So he's saying that right now some negotiations are taking place between Ankara and Moscow, and Turkey is awaiting a green light from Russia uh, in in sense that Turkey is waiting that Russia will open Syrian sky in the north side, and then Turkish air forces will be able to, without any problems, uh, introduce to a battlefield its bombers and attack helicopters. That's gonna be big blow for Kurdish armed forces and for the main allies, which are USA, France, let's say, and many other EU member countries. So let's wait and see, man. I think Russia may give Turkey a green light in this because if you remember a few years ago, Kurdish armed forces call up U.S. Help, U.S. Air Force for help when Wagner Group, some units of Wagner groups were moving on territory that formally are under Kurdish control, and then U.S. Militaries, I mean U.S. Attack helicopters, if I remember correctly, did attack this unit of Wagner group, and tens of soldiers were killed. Tens of members of Wagner private military company. Some say even hundreds. And I'm quite sure Moscow did not forget about it. And that's why I think that Moscow may give Turkey green light and may open sky on north part of Syria. And there is no questions that Turkey will bring a great deal of harm to Kurdish armed forces, because Turkey does have great air force, you know. So yes, that's quite interesting. That's quite interesting story, in my opinion. Turkey and Russia had quite strange relationships in some areas. Uh, Moscow and Ankara are in disagreement, in strong disagreement. Let's say, for example, conflict in Libya. Ankara is supporting government in Tripoli. Russia is supporting government that are in Benghazi. And as you know, Right now, Libya is divided on two main groups, and both are pretending that they are legitimate government of Libya. One based in Tripoli, which has support of Turkey, for example, and one based in Benghazi, which has support of Russia, which has support of United Arab Emirates, for example, Egypt, and even France. So geopolitics is very, very strange thing, man. Geopolitics, sometimes does give you uh, headache. So much strange things are happening same time. And France, for example, has some issues with Russia in former French colonies, where Wagner Group is quite active. In Mali, for example. So France and Russia are allies, let's say, in Libya, but are kind of opponents, or I'm not going to say enemies, but at least opponents in Sahel region. Let me say that way. And France is losing there quite badly, and withdrawing its forces. So yes, that's example of strangeness that are usual stuff in geopolitics. So yes, it's quite interesting news in my opinion. So that's why I did decide to share it with you. And this news does make headline in Russian media outlet, as you can see. What else, man? Here we have statement from Putin. Um I'll give you this news too. Uh, Putin did give interview to Russian journalist uh, Pavel Zarubin, yes, Pavel Zarubin. He has a program, Moscow Kremlin. I don't even know, because I don't watch TV. I don't really know in which channel, in which Russian channel this program is airing, or in which channel this Pavel Zarubin is working. But that's not the point. Point is that in this interview, Putin said that West is trying to divide Russian people, and they are using Ukraine conflict, among other things. Uh, in they are using Ukraine to divide Russian people too. That's one of the goals of the Western elites. That's what Putin is saying, and Russian main goal are exact opposite: to unite Russian people. So, as you know, Putin many times did said in past that Russian nation is divided, and when he is talking about Russian nation, I'm quite sure he don't means that like ethnically Russian or ethnically Slavs. He means Russian speaker world. If you take Russia itself, I mean, you have tens of national republics in Russia, in which majority are represented by native people to these areas. You have that in North Caucasus region, in Privolzhia region, in Far East region. So, of course, Putin means Russian speakers, not ethnic origin or race origin or anything like that. No. In this way, I mean, Russia is a great example how country can be built as a multi-ethnic and multinational, multicultural, and at the same time be and simultaneously be united as a nation, as a Russian nation, and be very original. Because if you gonna went to, for example, North Ossetia, that we used to live, me and my family used to live for last 8 years before we moved to Moscow region. If you're gonna visit North Ossetia, you're gonna see very distinct culture. Ossetian people, I mean, they are descendants of Alans. Probably you know from history, Alans, Scythians, Sarmatians. You definitely know because probably you did hear a legend about King Arthur, for example, and his knights, they were Sarmatians. So, and Alans were part of Sarmatian unity. So that's Scifo-Sarmatian culture, and Alans are part of it. Now, if you want to see descendants of that great civilization, you can went to North Ossetia, and yes, you can listen to a language that Sarmatians did talk, for example. That's only people on this planet right now that are talking in language that Sarmatians used to talk, and Alans. So can you see? And this language is part of Iranian language family, not Slavic language family. And same time, Ossetians are part of a proud part of Russian nation, and they are, they are Russians. They are Ossetians and they are Russians. That's happening in symbiosis. It does not make any cultural shock or linguistic shock here, because Russia is united. It's Russian nation, and same time very original when you go to different regions. So that's why I'm quite sure Putin in his statement did mean Russian speaker world, because you know that's how we see, Ruski Mir. That's Russian world, the Russian, and how you designate it. I mean, if you are Russian speaker, then you are part of Russian world, of course. So Putin, of course, means that Russians that are live in Ukraine, and they are think about themselves as a part of Russian world, they will be reunited with Russia. And I'm quite sure, same we can say about Belarus, uh, and thankfully, integration between Russia and Belarus is taking place. And I mean, there is no problems between the Russian and Belarusian people whatsoever. Now, you may find some ultra right nationalists in Belarus too. Probably you can find those kind of people anywhere. But in general, relationship is great. So yes, Putin did give this interview today, and he spoke that if Western world has using Ukraine's conflict and has in ideas in its pro- in its plans to divide Russian nation, uh, Russia does exactly the opposite. Russia is trying to unite Russian people and Russian world, and you know, I hope I did give you enough information to take, to see picture that Putin is coming from. Because as I said, Russian world is not, it's multi-ethnic and multicultural, and it was built like that, you know, from the beginning, you know. So yes, that's Putin, and I'm quite sure. I mean, one day we will probably see more integration between Russia and Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine. At least those parts of Ukraine that are historically Russian speaking, Russians and Russian speakers are huge majority in those regions. So yes, in future, when this conflict in Ukraine will die down and finished eventually with some negotiations, yes, Russian world will become bigger. So yes, interesting, interesting. Here, one more information probably for today, and yeah, that will be it. This is quite ironic information. I mean, little bit of irony. Uh, Here we have statement from head of Russian State Duma, that's Russian Parliament. And in his statement, he said that Russian society is very critical about those people that left Russia after Putin announced partial mobilization. And in State Duma, in Parliament, right now, these parliamentarians are working to introduce some bills to tax people that left Russia. In my understanding, Putin will veto this bill even if Parliament will make such a like crazy and, in my understanding, unconstitutional decision because you know those people had the right, constitutional right, to leave Russia, and they used their constitutional right. And even if I'm, you know, not approving the decision, even though I don't judge them, it's not my business. But even if I think that they make mistake, people are allowed to make mistakes, and the state cannot tax those people. They just make maybe. Yet again, I mean, I don't judge nobody when it comes to ordinary people. I may have my strong opinion about elites. That's yes, that's how it is. But when it comes to people, I'm not in position to, criticize at least partially. And that's why I say, maybe I don't understand why they leave Russia after this partial mobilization was announced. Maybe I even understand. That's not really matters. But I'm quite sure state has no right to tax those people, to tax those people in a high percentage that than other people. For example, if I'm paying 30% of my wages as a tax, uh, it seems like these parliamentarians won't tax those that left Russia uh, even more. I didn't see any numbers here, but probably they think to tax them like on 18%, 20%, and I'm quite sure this is crazy idea. It's unconstitutional, and even if parliamentarians will vote for this kind of law, Putin will veto it because he's, he has a юридическое. How you say юридическое? Let me translate this quickly. Uh, Come on. He has law degree. Yes, let me say this way. He has law degree, and he's everything he does. He's trying to be in to do it in a lawful way. Sometimes, Parliament may even make new laws so that his decisions will be according to law. That's how strongly he is, you know, how strong beliefs he has that everything he does must be according to law. So this, for example, this initiative from Speaker of Head of Russian State Duma is, even I understand that it's not constitutional, and I'm not, I don't have a degree in law. I have journalistic education, which is, I mean, good enough, but I have no degree in law. But Putin does have, and he, of course, will straight away understand that this is, I mean, this is crazy, and they cannot do this kind of stuff. But anyway, that's irony for you. These parliamentarians probably are want to like bank on some political points, and because they know that society is quite critical towards those people that left Russia, they may think that they will make some harsh statements and society will applaud them, but I don't think so. Some may, but majority will don't approve this because it's just it's wrong. It's wrong, for God's sake, man. These people had the right to leave Russia, to go in some other countries, and that's what they did, and that's their business, none of mine, for example. So yes, it is what it is, man. I find this information quite ironic and not funny, but strange, you know. So that's why I did talk about this news. To When it comes to front lines, I did not see the news about some great developments on the battlefields. There are some positional strikes from both sides, and as I understand, Russian side is actively preparing for some offensive operations. A few days ago, you may remember, I did talk about some Telegram channels that did publish information about possibility of beginning of Russian offensive from Belarus in the night between 25th or 26th of December. That's tonight. So even though I was skeptical then about this information, I'm skeptical now. Today is the time that was predicted for that counteroffensive, and tomorrow morning we will see, how accurate that information was. But because those channels, I mean, particularly a channel of Anatoly Shary is quite big channel, and Anatoly Shary is quite famous in Russian-speaking world. That's why I talk about that news like a few days ago. In my opinion, Russia is getting ready for some offensive operations, but I'm not sure that Russia will start offensive in direction of Kiev or in direction of Chernigov, because in my opinion, even though I'm not military expert, in my opinion, main target should be western border of Ukraine to cut down those logistical routes that NATO member states are using to provide Zelensky's Nazi regime with more and more weapons. So maybe Russia will try to take out that logistic um, routes, that logistic centers, if you wish. That would be logical, in my opinion. But yet again, I'm not military expert, and I'm not in. general staff of Russian armed forces. I have no idea in which direction Russian army will start offensive operation. Even though I do think that before end of winter, we will probably see some offensive operations from Russian side. Yet again, time will tell. But for now, this is it. And yes, of course, once again, I wish you happy Christmas, happy New Year, all good. I wish you everything good that I can wish. So this is it for today. Have a nice day. Have a great day and take care. See you tomorrow.